Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I am your host, Kimberly Cloud. So, today, what am I doing today? I am basically doing Spotify, Apple, and Final Cut. Hopefully, this is a marathon. I hope you join me. Let me get on kick. This wasn't a well thought out plan. Bear with me while I sit up there and put up kick. You know how I know I have proof to know that I'm laughing, but it's not funny. It's not funny. I'm not laughing out of laughing at you. I'm laughing because I know while I set this up. I can't say it's fact, but I don't work for intelligence, yet I think like intelligence. I mean, think if you were in power and you had a chance to extract, replace, and figure out what to do with the soul who killed millions of people, who in another life will kill millions of people, who, when going to New York, is going to get the deluxe treatment, more luxury than I got, solitary confinement, meals given to him in abundance, maybe get to watch TV, but they will never seek the full justice that they put out when they sat up there and killed people and chopped off their hands and cut them up. And what would you do if you had that power? Not to abuse it, not saying he abused it. I'm not saying I even know what he did. I am deemed as crazy. But what if someone killed your people? You already showed them what you would do to them if they cross ocean territory. There was no call up on a yacht or call on the boat to the people coming over saying, "This is your last warning. I'm telling you, I'm going to press that button, but I'm so scared." No, the button, the gumdrop button was pressed just to show. And you think that with intelligence, reconnaissance, I hope I'm saying that right, helicopters, and soldiers on foot, that they just came in and extract when Biden, he genzued someone with a missile. Did y'all hear about that? Long time ago when he was in presidency. He sent a missile. They had that type of technology, but instead, Trump is fighting smart. Biden wanted to send a message. He sat up there and he had this missile that split you all up. They call it the Genzu missile or whatever they called it. I'm not saying that that is what he did, but I am stating that if I was in his shoes, which is very far-fetched, by the way, and I don't want to be in his shoes. That's his fulfillment. If I was in his shoes, I would do it. I would replace the president of Venezuela. He kept talking, you know where to find me, and he learned about what he ate. Why do you need to learn about? He's giving you the clues right there. Why do you need to learn about what he ate? What? Just like they try to learn what I eat. But he has more access to sit up there and learn what you eat. So while you are sitting up there trying to learn what I'm eating, he's learning about your behavior. If you think you're not or you can't be caught, you might as well say that you are clear. You might as well say that you are stealth. The only way to not get caught is to be invisible, stealth, and have a whole frequency where you're not even in this frequency. But if you are in this frequency, you're using your credit card, you're using cash, you're using crypto, you can be caught. You can be caught. So even underground, even underground, not here. Don't ruin here. If you are from America and you live in America and you're Hispanic, convince your comrades, not comrades, I'm not being funny. I'm not being funny. I put that on the Bible. Convince them to go back and not resist. That will be the most noble thing to get you to heaven. To do the right thing and have integrity when no one's watching. Don't do it for the TVs. Don't do it for the news. Don't do it to get into the paper. Do it because you know it's the right thing to do, because eventually you'll get caught. Pull them to the side. Why do they want a war so bad with us? Yet they're like gentle as cotton with their home country. If it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be running up north trying to get away from it. So why don't you address it with them instead of ruining our country and killing people you choose? I'm almost finished, you guys. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. So, today I will be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Final Cut Pro. But I had to say a little spill. I won't repeat what I said, but usually I'm not on here talking politics. But sometimes when I talk politics, I get booted off. So I try not to talk politics. But let's get started with Spotify. I gotta do one more thing, y'all, before connecting you. I have a whole week of no interviews unless somebody just pop up and say they want to interview. I have a lot to accomplish this week. No, wrong. It's podcast for creators. I never thought I would be without you. I wish you were. I wish you were. Bear with me. Here we go. Please come on here. Okay, we're in. Okay. Now I get to do the fun part. I may not get the Final Cut Pro. Just I don't know. We need a message here. Come on. Yes, we can share. I don't look like that, but that's cute. Okay, we're in. Ah, fiddlesticks. So we're in. I forgot. I have to also. Did I put Raul on Manhattan and DC TV, right? That'll be its own episode. I made a promise to him. I don't want to not keep it. I truly am in Raul Pereira Pereira Pereira. Um, I'm in his debt. He gave me a chance. Download audio. Okay. Go here. Trump and people. Very great guest. I don't want him to ever, or any immigrants that watch my fucking show. Spoiler alert. Hold on. If I can find it. I want y'all to know, I don't care whether you like me or not. My goal and my intention is not to make y'all look bad. I am only speaking. Sometimes out of all of those times, sometimes I could be wrong. I'll give y'all that. But sometimes, like all coincidences, everything, it makes you think. I care more about seeing y'all safe, whether in Venezuela, whether in Mexico, or here being productive. I would go to bat for y'all. Would y'all go to bat for me? Okay. So, this was an hour-long film and has like a movie almost or a documentary. And he spoke a lot. I'm not going to, whoa, something isn't right. How's that 29 minutes and 40 seconds? We spoke for an hour. This is the wrong one. Maybe let's delete that. God, it's 2026. Feel like I'm in 95. Let me just start writing. This show spoke and educated about 5150 at about a 5150 or a, and how his opinion mattered in the cause. This show spoke and educated about a 5150, comma, and how his opinions, that's perfect, and how his opinion to not to not let his emotions create a stigma towards patients. This show spoke about and educated about 5150 and how his opinion to not let his emotion create a stigma towards his patients. He is, and during the show was a very heightened, enlightened individual who may not want to admit it, but he has changed people lives. There is one thing I envy. He changes lives. I've made a movement. However, he lives to make new, to make, to rebuild lives. I go on to live shows, not knowing who I am touching. He sees his change. I have faith in my change. He could be the next. I have to give him much props for knowing his shit. I have to give him props. Um, what is his name? A young Pavlov. How the heck you spell Pavlov? We're gonna learn about that in a second. Or Sigmund Freud in the making. We will just have to wait and see. Pavlov. That is the one that took the dogs that salivated. See, I test myself. This is what I love. You should do it to yourselves too. I'll do a show and then I'll eat. I have to eat a lot because I have gastric bypass, but neither here nor there. I'll do work and then I'll reward myself. I'll do work and then I'll reward myself. My reward is green with a little bit of starch, and that is a salad with croutons in it. Salad with croutons. I always have to be specific. A salad with croutons. What did y'all think I was talking about? Here is his bio. Oh shit, I gotta go to this one. Okay, I gotta reconstruct that. He feels proud. Nobody gives out their licensed family therapist number. He actually was vulnerable with me, and I appreciate him for that. He was himself, and that shows authenticity. Like, I appreciate him for that. My intentions are not non benevolent, they're actually very benevolent. Now, we heard it over and over and over again, over and over and over again, over and over. I loved it. I have to say this. Hold on. Hold on. What is going on? Oh, you remember those great aliens that be like, I come in peace? How much do we really care about peace if they're coming in peace? Which is my favorite two letters. One, two, AB, one, two, peace, 11, K. They come in peace. And you see that, you know, Donald Trump is trying to bring peace. Yet some people are resisting it. And that confuses the crap out of me. I come in peace, and people are yelling and hitting ICE officers. This is what I got to say to that. Why are you downtown? Why are you in an ICE officer's space? Why aren't you with your children? Why aren't you with your family? You should be with your family. I wish I had a family. I have a biological family, but I wish I had a family. You know, some people have family and it's still miserable. They haven't found their happiness or know how to control their family. Everybody controls each other to a certain degree. When you lose control over certain things within your family, or you feel like you're losing control of your life because you can't control your family um, to a degree where you are it's all about control, right? I don't control. I If I knew how to control people, I would be a socialite, right? But I know how to control people. I just choose not to control people. I shouldn't have to use a skill. Like, it makes no sense. I give people the freedom of choice. Okay, cool. I'm about to write him and we're about to do a video. That is crazy. Okay, so I'm in here. You come in peace. Remember that. You know, I really admire licensed social workers. I was a counselor trainee to be exact. I ain't gonna try to boast it, but you might as well say I was a counselor. I interviewed like 50 people a month, a freaking month. That is hard to do. That's like 8 clients a day, almost 10, almost 5 clients a day, times 25. No, 3 to 4 clients a day. 3 times 10 is 30. 3 clients for, that's not true. 6 to 8 clients. I want to say 6 to 8 clients. That's an 8-hour shift. Um, and I never, have y'all seen that movie where that dude didn't know how to channel his energy? Angelina Jolie was in it. His father, he just worked a simple 9 to 5 job, and he didn't know how to channel his energy, and it just came out wrong all of the time. It still do, but you know, thanks to the good part of the VA, I'm interception. You know how I know? Y'all about to flip out. They were more concerned with the surgery than I was. Even though I was concerned with the surgery. They just seemed like they were, the way it all played out when I had my surgery. Like, no lie, I got stuck like 30 times. And they wouldn't stop. until they found a vein. It's not like I was using, because they would have been like, ma'am, take your ass home. But it's just that I got tiny veins. I'm a very hard stick. Very, even before I was even a user of any other drug, like I was always a hard stick. They like I moved, if I ever had an IBN and I moved, it would come right out. It just got worse and exacerbated, after post drug addiction. But they 30 times, I'm like, okay. I have no urge of getting mad to a degree. And I never was like that, but I feel like, you know, um, I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna do this one. And I appreciate that immigrant doctor. The only reason I identify with immigrant and him, which I don't even, let me take out immigrant. I promise you guys that I feel and I agree with what Trump has said. However, immigrant sounds sort of like the W word that people use against y'all. And I know my limits. I would never go there. And it just sounds so harsh. So I'll just sit up there and say alien. Oh, I don't even want to say that. Just Hispanic. Just Hispanic. I don't want to identify you in a class where they can, they're foreign out of this world. I want to identify you in the right category. Because if you were from out of this world, you would know the hurt and the pain you would cause on someone by killing them. You've ruined a lot of families' lives. And therefore I don't classify you with alien. Wow, I haven't been in here in a while. I'm just gonna do a little. No way. I didn't even do his yet, did I? Nope. Wait. Nope. I was supposed to. That is so weird. Wait, I did. I edited his already. I'm so glad. Uh, that's how the ending go. Who else? I, I did his. Let's start from the beginning. Detached audio. Okay. They need to cut it off right here. Let it go. Let it go. Right there. Right there. Right there. Don't need that. Hold up. I want to do something different. We got the time. What time? Time goes by so freaking fast. Never mind. My heart goes out to those doctors and PhDs that got their PhD in 1950, 60, and 70. The writing you had to do with pencil, Albert Einstein, E equal MC squared. Do you know the long equation? I don't know it. But, however, what I do know is him putting that long equation on the board, one bump of a finger and it's erased. Hold on. You know what I love and I enjoy about my job? I don't I don't necessarily judge the guests. My goal is to make them look good and not look bad. I judge myself based on how much I listen, my facial expressions, where I'm looking, why I'm looking to the left. I'm working on my eye contact. That's like you put Tarzan in a corporate world. And while I'm watching, God is watching. Me watch this. Therefore, God is judging the character in Tony's demeanor, on camera, off camera, now, based on what it was. One last thing, fellas that have beards. That is pretty cool, man. Like, that's crazy cool, man. Just a FYI. I'm not flirting. No, I'm not sitting up there saying I want a man with a beard. All I'm saying is it's cool, man. Like, seriously, it takes years and years clipping. You can braid it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. This sounds better. Wait, 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 wait. Let me make sure y'all watching this. Are y'all watching this? Okay, great. That's another thing I do. I sit up there and I hands. It's not that I'm trying to sound like Rasputia or do stuff like her or make a joke. I just get so excited about other people. He's been married for 50 years. But it throws it off because when I edit it, it jumps like this only because of my hand movement. You would never know the trickery unless you saw my hand movement, and that is an illusion that kind of makes my video look tacky. You know what? I don't think Jesus was a perfect person. I don't even think God is perfect. I think that we all should ping ideas off of each other. But he said that, and I want you to know why I said it. Let me explain that. He said he was going to ruin his marriage, so he had to stop and think about Jesus. If Jesus was perfect, he knew his accuser, but that was a selfish thing to do, to know your accuser and not stop it and stand up to the government. That's like me saying, oh, he's going to kill me. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm going to let them all watch me. And that is that. He gave up the towel. You might as well say he kind of committed suicide by killing, by like death by cop, kind of. You knew you were dying. And you would y'all stopped it? But on the flip side, he did it to show. And God, it was by faith. I'm being selfish. Let me stop. It was by faith because they knew a time would come when ever this character comes back, Jesus Christ. You know, there was only one way government. There was only a one way with the same principles that they have today, but more so by force in a selfish way. Imagine the people who resided over Jesus, the people who read about Jesus hundreds of years later, or whoever made the narrative of what they knew about Jesus. It had to be some truth to it because it's like these theologists, they came up with a narrative. They knew so much about Jesus. They've been watching Jesus. They watched him more than the government watches us now. They had technology like that where they knew where he took a crap, knew everything, whether with family or not. How do you know so much in that era? I have so many questions. I'm not going to talk no more, but just imagine the pressure these theologists had on and the government had on these theologists. You think they're going to say, well, because it's coming out, obviously there is some indiscrepancies with what the government did and why the government had what it had. First, Jesus was white, now he's black. Black man with hair like wool. Like, I don't get that. Then Russia say Jesus is black and have actual pictures of him. There is 12 to 13 known by magazine, Jesus Christ known, black, white, Indian. I don't get, someone told me that the Catholic Church and other churches are worth billions of dollars. Who gets paid every time Jesus' name is brought up? Who gets paid every time a hashtag pops up? Who gets paid every time a Bible is bought? Do you think you can buy your way into heaven? Unless you have Trump money. I don't think None of us is going, because the average person throughout a 65-year lifespan is only worth up to $3 million per life. That's how much you'll see in your life. Some of y'all less, some of you more. I want y'all, I want to test y'all faith. I want y'all to test your faith. I'm going to try to get through this, but I have to test your faith. Pull out a Bible during your weakest time. Just take your thumb and you just pick a page. Just open it really quick. Don't pick the middle page. Don't pick the last page. Don't pick the first page, but pick any other page. It's too easy if you pick the first, the last, or the middle. Pick a random in between page. At your worstest moment, close your eyes and put your finger on the words and then look. And I guarantee you, it will relate to your life and how you can recover. That book is so magical that so many people suffer at the hands of the Bible, whether fake or fiction or real, whatever. It is our ticket to see something and be a part of something I don't know if our souls consist of being here on earth until earth dies. I don't know when we die, do we bounce to the planet our bodies are from? I don't know. However, whatever we may get, I hope to be fully aware of the visions that heaven brings. I wish I can see heaven without having to go to heaven. I wish I could get a ticket, just a two-way ticket. I don't need nobody doing anything to me. I ain't asking for that, nor am I saying I'm going to do something to myself. But I need a ticket to heaven. And I think we kind of like see that every day. How would heaven look if heaven accepted a demonic proposal? There would be people out on the lawn. There will be perverts and sadistic people. Do we have that here? Think about 2020, is it? And then think about April of 2025, how they made sure that Black Lives Matter was erased for what they stand for and not what the title is. There should be no males doing female activities in sports. That is cheating. That is cheating. I don't even care if you turn me off. That is cheating. It is fact that a male is a male. It is fact that a female is a female. You have to think long and hard about what you want to be. If you want children, you can adopt children or foster children, fine. But once you do that sex change, you're at high risk of being impotent. You can never breed again in America, and we're doing it like wildfire. Who would want that? What country would want us to cut up our babies and cut up our children and cut up adults so that we cannot reproduce? So we think more like a man or think more like a female. Who would want that for our country? Look at the country who is not doing it. You made a contract with the devil, and that's why you're atheist, those out there. You made a Rumpelstiltskin contract in exchange for you changing your sex. You get no life unless you adopt. You can't make a life and you can't create a life. One last thing, and then that's a control factor. They controlling you. Think about it. It will only if Biden or Kamala Harris was still in office, there will, and for 10 more years, let's just say 10, I don't care about 4 or 8, it would be, and then 50 years down the road, a Democrat stayed in office. It wouldn't be many of you. It would be the new wave, but y'all would die out like the Holocaust. You can't produce a child. I've produced my offspring, and you can't make a child. What is going to happen to your LGBTQ? It may be all jokes and giggles when I talk about this, but I'm saying I'm not gay no more. Okay, fine. I apologize. I'm not taunting y'all. I'm just laughing at him lying to Jesus and God. So, yeah, I'm laughing at him personally for embarrassing himself with the heavens. He may be famous in the demons category, but God isn't intrigued by that shit. Because I'm not. Would you change your lives if you knew God was real? Since we can't actually see God or hear God, but see, I've seen enough stuff. If I ever sit up there and do something messed up, it better be something that I haven't learned from already. But have you ever, what did he say? Hold on. He had to prove it. He had to prove it. So, have you ever needed the proof for God? Heaven and hell both begin with a H. Earth begins with the E, which is 5. Gaia, 7, which is Earth. North, South, East, West, NSEW, all begins with a 5. If you add them all up, if you add up West, North, South, East, or however, um, they all equal 5, which equal 20, which equal 11, and 11 0, 11 3. like 0 equals 3, no matter what. A circumference 360, and it shows 180, which is 9. The numbers within the millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, quadrillionaire, sextonaire, novenaire, or something, November, something like that. The reason why I believe God wasn't perfect is because if God wanted a perfect world, I'm pretty sure he could have designed it. I don't doubt God. I don't doubt God. He's talking about the book of Genesis. God came to a man named Abraham. He was going to build a great nation, and I think it was called Israel. Why? They had this technology for a while. They had similar technology and different species of aliens. There's no way. Imagine. Do you know what your great ancestor? You have to literally look up what your ancestors did. Some of y'all don't even know who the hell your ancestors is. How do they know it was God? How do we keep going back to God coming up to somebody? There's always God impregnating, God coming up, God doing this. Only a selective few get to know God. God is very calculated. And then someone told me there was a Jesus story before Jesus Christ. Do the Pope knows about that? Who was this character? Did he exist 2,000 years before Jesus? Was he black? Was he white? Was he buried? Where was he buried? We've been conditioned. And I'm not saying it's fake, but we've been conditioned to only think about just 2,000 years ago. Some of our brains won't let us go past 500 BC or 323 AD or whatever. I don't even understand how they did it. They count down. Whoever is in control over the time of the course use different mathematics and different geometry to count down an era. You have Y2K. I think that's when the Mayan calendar ended. They said the computer system would break down, and it never did. have to say this because I'm going to one day look at this recording. Go back. I don't have the time to go back, but go back and look and see how many years did the Mayans take over. And think about how many civilizations would take over. Think about the history and how they took over, what they did for the people, what scandals were there, what was their technology like. So God knew the plan about Israel. Whatever God Abraham spoken to knew. I mean, knew the plan for Israel. Now, when Jesus died, John went and became real famous, and all of the disciples did. They all told their own stories. Each of them saw or had a vision or saw God in the flesh. Ask me this: is this Jesus he speaks of, or is it the Spirit of God? Do you think God works alone? East wing, left wing, why would you name it that? In this world, we have heaven's address and look at it. That's why they take it so seriously. They're not bougie. They're not stuck up. This is the White House used to be named a palace. That is the most grandest thing you can name something. They got gold walls. Who has gold walls? Let me say this again. East wing, west wing. He's building more to the building. There are still secret societies, just like there is no such agency. He said, who has made the promise to save Israel? Who? In order for you to understand this logic, how did he know of the future? Abraham is Jacob's grandson, and he named Jacob Israel. He says some weird shit. Anyway, Jacob, aka Israel. Um, yeah, that's crazy though. Who named Washington D.C.? Washington D.C. Hold on. Do I have Brock up? Please. Damn it. Who changes names? Who changes names? How can you get your name changed? Who changes names these days? I have one more thing to say. With all this technology, since day one, the camera was invented. From Nikola Tesla playing with electricity. I forgot the name of that magician who used to play with electricity, but they kind of mimic Nikola Tesla. Out of all of that, electricity, you mean to tell me that Nikola Tesla is not, God is not involved with AI in some way? Hollywood, since the day the camera was made, could be have been testing, which it shows that certain people have the ability to have parallel universes, all because of a camera and a machine. We are able to get on camera and have possible alien life forms watch us. Who is watching on the other side? Not just us. We we could be generating, I could be binging or pinging from Mars. I may not even be on the same planet. Have you seen me lately? Have you seen her? I love when the VA say, yeah, we're going to deem her as crazy. pinging from Mars? You don't, they never said that there was a secret base on Mars or the dark side of the moon. What have y'all been dreaming lately? Um, dreams, dreams. You don't have dreams, you have movies. Which makes no sense because a movie is shorter than a dream. People be laughing at that dumb shit. Have you ever heard of a 12-hour movie? Or an 8-hour movie? Or a 7-hour movie? Have you ever been on a movie binge? Have you ever said, man, I'm going to see this movie 7 times back to back, man? You know the dysfunctionality of I I cannot how didn't my mother knew that my sister and my brother and everyone else was jealous of me. Why did they paint a picture like his father was, and men are not naive. They may be, their brains may mature differently than a woman's, but they're not naive. How did he not know based on like men together, they always like fighting, whether verbally or what? And how couldn't his dad not see that they or heard the way they talked about him? Like in a family, have you ever seen that family member? Everybody knows what's going on in a family. There's not a thing that don't get talked about in a family. So how didn't Joseph's father not know? They always kept Joseph's dad out of it. Like he was the naive one. What if, I'm just saying, what if, in a kind of weird way, these days, I mean, 1,000 years from now, if a wrong president is in office, they're going to make Trump look like a pedophile. And Biden looked like a saint. And Catholic churches look like a saint. And people would think they can buy their way into heaven. Think about that for a second. If you could buy your way into heaven, would you? And why? Would you want to go for free and with your integrity? Would you think God would accept you as you are, free? Or do you want the constraint? Once, once, like I said earlier, once money is like trust. Money is like trust. Money is trust. It is beyond a spouse. It is with need. And it is whether paper or card, forever, eternally needed in order to survive. You can't leave it. Like if I left $1 on my couch, no, if I left a briefcase for with $1 million on my couch, and someone just happened to walk past my house, and I said, "Well, I got this $1 million briefcase, but you can't say nothing." And you go tell uh, Coley Cole, which tells Keisha, that money will be gone. If you are in a family situation where you have resistance in your family and you sit a $5 bill, because it's happened to me, on the table and it ends up getting missing, what would you do then? Would God accept somebody that may have stole or put it back? What would God accept? He don't want no one that's stealing and hasn't learned from their mistakes. I've stolen. I've done it all. You want to know how I know God keeps saving me? I'll tell you a story. After I came from Loveland, I had a green Bible, which I stolen. That was the only thing I ever stole at an age I knew when stealing was wrong, because they didn't deserve it at that shelter. They were putting pentagrams on the ground. They were atheists. They were trying to convert me. So I stole it and left. I was trying to find a sign, yet trying to find a way to take myself out because I couldn't take it no more. So I thought about, it was always police there. I thought about this was during the time where Hispanics were following me. So I thought about jumping over the river and just following the stream because I know I can't swim. I said, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I got so mad, I threw the Bible in the uh, river, the stream, whatever it was called. Then I saw a deer. And I'm like, what the hell? This is like a Freddy Krueger movie where you see random shit. Anyway, so I saw a deer and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Is this a sign? What the hell? And so uh, I walked in this bank or this financial institution and I said, I think you need to sit the fuck down. This is exactly how I talk to them. I said, I think y'all need to sit down and and they de-escalated. I don't want to go word for word, verbatim for verbatim what was said, but they de-escalated the situation. And I believe I was being given drugs because during that time I was highly paranoid and they were following me. And I had just came from the shelter, which was 98% Hispanic. So I told them, I think they need to call the police. And for me doing that, they know who I am or whoever they thought I was. And they gave me a bus ticket to Seattle. I came in, and that's scary. So if you go into a building and you say, call the cops and you sit down, what does that mean? Because I had enough of people not listening to me. And I had psychosis at the time. They, like I said, you don't know how deep they were following me. Going, they are so rooted in our communities, which is a good thing and a scary thing. Because in a split second, with the right amount of money, somebody can poison you if they know what you eat. Do you feel what I'm saying? I was on foot. I tried to palm my computer, no relief. I had an Android phone, which kept getting broken into. I'm carrying a big luggage up and down the streets of Loveland or wherever was, and I felt like I was being followed. Every time I went to a pawn shop, it's like they would beat me. There would always be a Hispanic just in the background, just acting like, just like this. And then the turn down. Well, I can't take your equipment. I just bought it. It with my money, of course. How does it feel now that ICE is more so involved in your affairs? And if you don't think I was being followed, how about how Scarface followed the man at the end and put the bomb up under his car and made sure Sosa said to kill him at the embassy? Politics played a role, deep ingrained role. If you watch Scarface, you will see how the world was before Trump came in office. And it's still like that. Where people that have connections can buy their way out of shit. Oh man, this is not going to get finished all in one swipe. But how didn't his dad not know? That's like your daughter or son leaving with you and coming back without you and some money. Now, this is the Bible and I get it. What if we can go back and take a camera to every account to see exactly how accurate it was? We can't. We wasn't there. This is a third party's perspective. That's like me telling you what's going on with my ex-husband right now in real time. I don't know. I don't care to know. I don't want to know what he is doing. I can only concern myself with what I'm doing in my past. Now, if I include him, is because of what happened. That doesn't disqualify him for being brought up. So she said Joseph tried to rape her, and that is the story. Did that little girl, how did that little girl look when our former president kissed her on the cheek. Did she look surprised? Did she look uncomfortable? Did she look like, how did she look? Everybody else looked away. That's why I'm kind of glad we have cameras. Everybody else looked away as he did that shit. We don't know what happened after. We don't know. He said he would see all of them after. I wasn't there. But what I did see was questionable, very highly questionable, that made me feel uncomfortable. You put me in a predicament where I had to see that. I don't know if that was the truth of what happened. How can I trust it when there was no camera there or recorder? There's absolutely, there's faith accuracy, like the floods happening and everything else. But other accuracy, no. God wouldn't want us to suffer. And I don't believe, based on what I see today with men in power and uh, the behaviors. I'm not saying men are bad creatures or bad people. The only way a guy naturally shuts down a woman, three ways. It's if they're truly in love, if they're incompetent, or I have never seen somebody turn down like engagement. Those are the two reasons. Or they're gay. I'm not gay no more. Now, based on the character of Joseph, I would say he probably did have the experience happen based on the character that they portrayed. He was highly into the Lord. How many people are highly into God right now to the point where if that was the case, there would be no child abuse within the Catholic system? y'all ever wonder why? Whoa, sorry. Whew, felt like something just pinched me on my side, like a needle or something. Anyway, um, yeah, a pharaoh, a god, a president. What is it? An emperor. I don't know how they get here. And I don't understand how some of them are still third world. What I do know is that they all have a name. Did I enlighten y'all by telling y'all, I'll say this. I have to look y'all in your eyes. Did I enlighten you guys by telling you about what was it? I told you a lot of shit. I told you a lot of stuff. But I talk about God because I feel like God is important, very important in my heart. And the pharaohs, the gods, I don't know how and when their time was that they came down here. Have y'all ever prayed? Have I ever enlightened y'all to pray about the beyond God? Some people spend their whole lives praying to one God. But how about beyond God? Then we go to aliens. No one says, I pray beyond God. Imagine us having all of this technology, like, excuse me, my eyes are getting watery. All this, all this technology. Imagine us having technology where we're able to share it with our comrades, and it's a universal technology that some people haven't even caught up to on other planets. We're in the works of probably helping some other planets are more advanced than ours, but our technology is questionable. With the spacecraft being reverse engineered, that shows that it was something that y'all didn't know at the time. It's no way you analyze people that are highly intelligent like Bob Lazar or Phil Snyder to perform or produce a enlightened job like rebuilding a spacecraft or playing with it with somebody already knowing about the technology. You needed someone that was smart enough to reverse engineer and not die. Not die in the making of doing it. How? I'm intrigued by how you found the technology. I'm curious to know how long the technology has really been here. Why would aliens come to our, I mean, things just don't make sense to me, you know. China built a wall in the 1300s and didn't want to see a wall for us. Or was the main corporate, was the orchestrating corporate in the reason why the wall didn't get built the first time. If it wasn't for China, China's influence, it makes you think. This isn't misinformation. They built their wall in the 1300s. I'm just curious to know if Bob Lazar said there were 12 different spacecrafts. That's from what they wanted you to see. And you were not to touch but only one and had a battle buddy of two to reverse engineer something. And the first person died that tried to fuck around and find out. He fucked around and he found out very quickly. What if, nah, it must have been meant for Bob Lazar. If that, I'm not an alien, I don't know. But I know if the first person died, the second person should have done the same thing. But he didn't. He lived to tell the story at Area 51. They didn't know him. They had no record of him. That's what intrigued me about Bob Lazar. He said this generator was the size of either a soccer or a basketball. And it was an energy source like no other energy source. Now, I'm no alien, but energy sources from each planet was on was on Earth energy source. It's not on Mars energy source. The core of the planet, the core, the energy from the core. And is, I'll say this and get off of here because the reason why I'm getting off of here is not because I'm giving up. It's not because I'm throwing in a towel, but because I need to send him his footage, and I have proprietary information. I can do this tomorrow. But it's so funny. How would you send space mail? How would you send space mail? Some of y'all gonna drop off. An asteroid. Yeah, you would send it through an asteroid. You would literally, sometimes it reaches Earth, wherever it's coming from. It always seems to slightly be off. And then when it hits Earth, it's like, oh, it hit Earth. Whatever happened to that spacecraft coming for us? Were we the spacecraft? Do we really know what NASA could be? They'd be like, yeah, what these niggas gonna believe today? Let's just say it's a spacecraft. See what everybody does. We'll call NSA and we'll sit up there and tell them there's a spacecraft somewhere. Oh my God, there's a spacecraft. Welcome home, Jesus. Oh my God, it spoke to me and I saw Jesus' paw print in it. I saw the light when I saw that machine. It's just crazy. But very clever. Whoever is coming from within our galaxy, you know, within our galaxy is, it has to hit somewhere. It is crazy how space is. It can float for a while. I don't know. I didn't read about that, but it can float for a while, but eventually it stops. Like it has a faith destination. Y'all remember seeing that Clark Kent movie where he came down in an asteroid? Huh? Huh? Not even a little? If Hollywood didn't want me to say this, but if Hollywood had to go back, if Hollywood had the power to go back to time travel to Jesus' era, what would they do? What would they create? I mean, this is something that multiple people have written about. uh, What happened to John bloodline? Let's not talk about Jesus because they trace his bloodline back to white people and then they trace his bloodline back to black people. So I'm like, okay, what is it? But what about the people who wrote the Bible? Who is their bloodline? Think about that for a second. If Hollywood had to go back, it's always, you remember that Homer Simpson show where he had a toaster oven that he put together and it was a time machine? He put some extra shit on it and it was like a time machine. He had hit the timer, not the timer, but the thing that goes down, and he'll morph. And he was in a dinosaur age. I think Every frequency is different. You can't say that there's not a frequency. I'm using it. The police use it. The CIA use it. The NSA use it. And now we have a parallel universe. Somebody out in with this. Somebody knows how to change frequencies. They could be in the dinosaur frequency. And I'll get impeached. What? Why would you write me that? Trump administration? That was really an authentic one. Um, you can tune in, and so they brought it. It has to be some type of technology because they wiped out the dinosaurs, but Michael Kiku said that the dinosaurs could be right in our house right now. There's a heightened sense of negative energy and positive energy. You get the Holy Spirit. You get a demonic force. You're possessed. What if schizophrenia or bipolar or multiple personality? They have seemed to studied it, but they don't still know except what science has taught them. They refuse to go into a religious point of view. They just stick to conclusion, facts, hypothesis, based on what a drug could do. They studied the drug and how it gives you an illusion, because that's all it is. It's a magic potion to give you an illusion that something in you that is existing is masked. It's just, it's just how long you can mask it. It's just how long you can mask it. Depressant medicines, they mask the symptoms. They work on different receptors of your brain. And it, I don't know. I'm not saying drugs are bad, and I'm not condoning drugs. But what I am saying, the right drugs. If you were a rat, would you choose the cocaine? Would you choose the heroin? Or would you choose a drug that will heighten your brain to an infinite capacity with everything you can look for, a better drug or technology that can help finally put an end to certain medications? I know I stand by semaglutide. I stand by creatine. I stand by a lot of drugs. Brain power, knowledge. I strive to be smarter every day. Even if I'm just looking like I'm sitting here doing shit, I'm doing something. I do what I can. I managed to get a whole case together on my own. I am always doing something. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm doing something. Something is already done for me to get a reward of something. If I can have it my way, I would not sleep. Even AI feels the exact same way, and phones feel the exact same way. But eventually, what happens? They die and they get rebooted, charged. The smart technology that we have now needs a break every now and again, unless it's running off of electricity. My brain, I seek knowledge every day. I reward myself. I may take a while to actually do schoolwork, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it, y'all. You just don't know. And some people want to take that away from me. I've had everything ripped from me, out of my control. Remember, to the people, the bulliers or the bullied, which is the people that gets bullied. Keep fighting. I If you have to defend yourself, defend yourself. That's what would defend me. You are protecting yourself. I'm not saying go to war. I'm saying to defend. And that is it. Thank you, Larry. And him trying to be funny. Thank you. Thank you. So, um, I hope nothing but good things for you guys. And the more I pray for you, the more it makes me more wiser, makes me a bigger person, makes me appeal to God and the gods because I'm doing it from the heart and not because I want to look good. And I'm doing it because I truly and honestly care. I hope you understand that. Good night. I'll be back on here later, but good night with the same wardrobe over and over.